All right. Hey, gymnastics community, President CGA, John Robinson here. I'm joined with Tony Beck. He's the head of our enhancement branch. He's kind of the guy who, behind things, he brings the projects like the All-Star event to life here. So he's a huge impact in the NCAA men's gymnastics world right now. But we got a special Zoom call here today with John Horton. John Horton's a gymnastics leader in our community. He's also an NCAA men's gymnastics great. And one of those guys that I was always scared to compete against. He's fierce, ready to go out there and hit it every time. Just a warrior in that regard. So someone that we all look up to, especially as competitors. So we're going to have two different parts here to this Zoom call. The first part, we're going to talk about the importance and the impact of NCAA men's gymnastics. Then after that, we're going to dive a little bit deeper into his experience. And so we're kind of excited to hear a little bit more, maybe some stories and things that are going to come along. So Jonathan, really appreciate you joining us today, and excited to have you. So
Yeah, for sure. I appreciate you guys chatting with me for a little bit. It's funny what you said. I don't know if I'd ever be scared or intimidated by me, but I'll take that as a compliment, man. I always joke with people. As much as I love gymnastics, at the end of the day, all we're doing is putting on tight pants and showing people the best flips we can do, and it's really not that serious, I guess. So now I loved my 28 years in the sport, and my NCAA career was, I was at Oklahoma for 5 years. But yeah, I got so many stories to tell, and there's so much that gymnastics did for me, and it's a big passion of mine, man. So yeah, thanks for chatting with me.
awesome. Tony, I'm going to go ahead and let you kick it off here to kind of dive into the importance and impact of NCAA men's gym, and then we'll kind of move through it.
Awesome. Thanks, John. So John, like we mentioned, we're going to talk about your collegiate experience later on, but what does NCAA gymnastics mean to our community? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I've it's not something it's a great question, and it's something that I talk with a lot of younger athletes about, just the value of having a goal beyond the big one that all young kids talk about is I want to be an Olympian one day, right? I think that the NCAA community is such an important goal, and it's not something that young kids automatically go to. We live in a country that is kind of taken over by the mainstream sports, basketball, football, baseball, golf, and all of those sports. Everybody wants to make it to the highest level of them. Everybody wants to become a professional player in these things. Well, for us gymnasts, that profession, that big thing is the Olympics, right? Well, the truth is, every 4 years, only five, six people make those Olympic teams, and there needs to be another pinnacle piece of that puzzle for us gymnasts. And that is, to me, that is the NCAA program. And I again, like, I don't think we realize the value of it until we leave. When we're done, it's like, wow, like that was an incredible experience, something that you take so much from. Um, so to me, like, I look back, and that's where I really became who I am today. I became a competitor. I became somebody who understands the value of working as a team. I understood what it meant to take my individual goals and throw them in the trash because they weren't as important to me anymore as being able to compete with the guys at my side. So um, it is something that I want to grow. It's something that I'll never forget. Those guys on my team are family for life. We stay connected. And regardless of any success or lack of success, being able to go to college, get away from your parents, and learn who you are and compete in a sport as difficult as gymnastics. I mean, I can't think of anything better. Of course, it's all relative to me because it's what I did, but man, there's so much value to it. I could probably sit here and talk to you guys forever about it.
Well, you answered my second question. It's gonna be more specifically, what does it mean to you? But
Yeah.
you're right. It's a lot about family, and we actually just had the 2004 national championship team here at Penn State, and they talked about the same exact things you just talked about and what it meant to them to be a part of a family, and it's a lifelong family forever. People,
Yeah.
so it's an amazing feeling, and we all three of us have gone through it, and I think especially John and I, that's why we're doing what we're doing today, is because of exactly what you talked about. But Awesome.
Yeah, I mean, and my son, David, he's 10 years old, and you know, I want him to dream big, right? I want him to, he's doing gymnastics. He essentially was born in the gym. I was still training when he was born. So I remember as soon as it was okay to take him anywhere, I like brought him to the gym, threw a blanket on the ground, and he was rolling around while I was still training. So he loves the sport. He knows the sport, and I want him to understand, like at a young age, hey, dude, like if you ever have the privilege and the honor of being able to go compete for any of the collegiate programs that exist, I was like, man, that is a big deal. You don't need to become an Olympian one day. That'd be really cool, but I don't want to put that pressure on you. I just want you to know, like, these programs and what you get out of it is probably more valuable to your life than making the Olympic team. Like that's how I look at the NCAA program. Had I never made the Olympics, like everybody, talks that up and makes it a really big deal. But what I got out of going to the University of Oklahoma competing for those 4 years was way more than what I got from competing for Team USA at the Olympic Games. And I mean, I'm not even blowing smoke. I'm dead serious about that.
Mhm. Yeah, I love what you bring up there because the goal of making an NCAA team is maybe more realistic or obtainable by a broader group, right?
Yeah.
We're talking in our sport, especially where perfection is what people are striving for. It's like Olympics or bust. It's like, hey guys, it's not bust,
Yeah.
actually, right? Like landing here is like the pinnacle of our sport. And a lot of times, the best gymnasts in our country and in the world are happening in that space, but it's a space that people could strive to accomplish and reach. So that's pretty cool.
Well, I mean, just to add to that too, it's it's no like small task to even walk on and find success on an NCAA men's gymnastics program. I mean, you're still a one percenter in the sport of gymnastics if you can make that happen.
Mhm.
That's how valuable that is. That's how hard it is to do. I mean, there's thousands of gymnasts in the United States, and most of them do not get to go compete for university. So you're right, absolutely right. That is the pinnacle, and it's an incredibly prestigious thing to do to go compete for any of the schools that are out there competing in college.
Right. Yeah, we got to keep working to grow it, right? So that way
Yeah,
more people get that opportunity. It's going to
absolutely.
impact their lives forever. Yeah.
Yep.
Awesome. All right, we're going to dive a little bit deeper into your experiences now. Okay. We want to hear stories and things like that. In order to do this next part justice, though, we got a couple people who want to join into the call. So let me
Sure.
grab a couple people real fast. All right.
I knew you were gonna have these two guys on here. I knew it. I knew there was no doubt in my mind when you wouldn't share.
Yeah, yeah.
I was 100% positive that these two guys were going to be on this call with me today. What's up, coaches?
Hey, John.
Mark, it's been a while. Tom, I see you all the time. I'm tired of your face.
That's like everybody else.
Hey, so obviously no introductions are necessary for these two guys. Mark Williams, Tom Meadows, legends in the coaching world in our sport. But it's really important, John, to for us to bring everyone in here, full circle moment for you to celebrate your experiences and things like that. These guys had a major impact on your life. And so it's really special opportunity for you guys to kind of reminisce a little bit, tell stories,
Yeah.
your things. So hopefully this is a special call for you guys. You guys have any starting words real quick, Tom and Mark, before I jump in a little bit deeper?
Well, real quick, I just want to say you didn't have to invite them both. You could have had one or the other because they're both the same person. Um, they both
I don't know how I should take that.
like their style of coaching, they're two peas in a pod. They're different people, but the way that they coach is identical, and that's why it was so easy to go to Oklahoma. Because Mark coached Tom, Tom coached me, so then I just basically went back to Mark, and they're both a big pain in my butt, but they know what they're doing.
Yeah, Tom, Mark, anything to add to that? Rebuttal?
Go ahead,
No,
Mark.
I think that's a compliment. I think Tom and I had some good years together, and John and I had some good years together, and the three of us made a life of gymnastics, and you're a big part of the success that we had as coaches. I guess I just wanted to say a couple things from the standpoint of a college coach. There was never anything I could ask you to do that you wouldn't do willingly. And those are the kind of guys I think that Tom and I both love to coach, having that can-do attitude. 2005 NCAA championships, you're a freshman. We're behind on the last event. Ohio State thinks they have just won the meet. We have 2 falls on vault. You're the last guy up for us. They don't even know you're standing back there. You're so small. And I walk over to you and I say, so, you're good, right? And he's like, yeah, don't worry about it. I got this. And you did. You did your vault. You won a national championship as a freshman, anchoring the vault team, and helped us win 3 other national championships that year, or through the 4 years that you were at OU. And there was, as much as I tried to manage the load that you took on for the team, I can remember going to Iowa, and you weren't supposed to do any routines, and halfway through you're like, you got to put me in. These guys are doing terrible. Yeah, I can't watch this. Put me in the last couple of events. We have to win this meet. Then I guess the ultimate compliment is at the Olympics in 2008. We're getting ready for high bar finals, and you said, I don't want to be here just to participate. I want to be out there to win. And you were probably one of the first athletes ever in gymnastics who modified the routine from making it through prelims into the finals. We sat down and wrote up every skill that you could possibly do on high bar. And within 3 or 4 days, changed your start value by 4 or 5 tenths. And sure enough, did it for the very first time on the podium for silver medal. So pretty special.
Yeah, those were some wild moments. I forgot about the Iowa meet. I do remember I had something going on there, and I think maybe Ian Jackson was struggling with some pain and couldn't do a floor routine. And Mark, you came up to me and you were like, you didn't warm up floor, but you think you could do a floor routine? I was like, yeah, I can do a floor routine. So I just went cold turkey and just did a floor routine. But I don't. So Mark, before you guys jumped on here, and Tom could probably back up what I'm gonna say here. Whenever I wasn't the most successful guy in the world. I feel like I had some talent, and whenever I was younger, I always felt like the, Chris Brookses of the world and the Alex Artemevs and Sho Nakamori's, and I was always the guy that I was always chasing someone. There was always someone to chase, and my number one goal was to be an individual best. I wanted to beat everybody, and just the way that it worked out throughout my career, I can list every single person in my life that I thought was impossible to beat, including those 3 guys that and then Taki Abdullah at one point whenever I was younger. I couldn't beat Taki. And so I was always just a little bit behind. I remember when I got to college, my goal was to be an NCAA all-around champion. Like I didn't care about what the team did. I wanted to be successful individually. And it was probably just a few weeks into my collegiate career that a group of 9 seniors and me and a couple other freshmen, like those seniors drilled it into my brain that what I did individually didn't mean crap. And it changed my whole perspective on what it meant to be a teammate, to be a competitor. And it wasn't that Tom didn't teach us how to be teammates. Like Cypress Academy always had a good team, and we loved a winning team, and Tom drilled team into us. But I was so focused on myself, and it was an arrogance, it was a pridefulness that I'm very willing to admit today. And coming to Oklahoma and having those guys basically telling me it didn't matter. It didn't matter. Hey, Horton, it doesn't matter how good you are if you can't perform under pressure when the team needs you. And when I found that like being a team player made me better, being able to perform, in like especially at the Olympics, 3 up 3 count. That's when I had my most success. Um, but that all came from my NCAA experience. And so a lot of that desire to just kind of sacrifice myself for everybody, that didn't really start until my freshman year at college. So I give Oklahoma and what you've put together and all of those guys so much credit for that, because I wouldn't have had the international success that I had without it. And so, Tom, I say all that not a dig at
Oh,
your
it's
program.
absolutely the truth. It's
Yeah.
absolutely the truth. And what I was, was asked to say a couple of things and, what it meant for you to be a part of our program. And I think one of the biggest things for me personally as a coach, as a young junior guy coming up, and, when Bill went off to do his thing and I took over the program that year, guys went with Bill who had been, with Bill. That was what happens when coaches leave. People follow their coach and stay with other coaches. And you're one of the ones that stayed with me. And that year was a big year for me personally, because I was on my own now. I was the big dog. I was in charge. And that happened to be the year of your kind of real coming out party at Nationals in San Diego, when
Yeah.
you just absolutely ripped it apart. And one of the most coolest things that's ever been told to me as a coach was about you. Was when we were walking out. I was walking back to the hotel, and Randy Jepson actually was walking with me. And Randy turned and looked at me and said, "Dude, that's the most impressive thing I've ever seen since Peter Vidmar was a junior gymnast and won national championships. Was John's performance at nationals." And that was when it was class 2, class 1, and he was a half a tenth away in his first year, class 2. He was a half a tenth away from beating the class 1, which was Adam Plummer. And it was
Ah, forgot
quite
about that.
yeah, it was quite I mean, performance was just amazing. I mean, doing 2 and 3 Kovacs on high bar as a freshman in high school. And it was just one of those things. It was just kind of one of the, what you did for me was you validated what I was doing as a coach, because like Mark said, I mean, I took over and it was, what are we doing? And it was never asked a question, never, it was, okay, we got to do 5. We're going to do 5. We got to do 8. We're going to do 8. And during that time, I'll never forget one workout when Moss Watanabe came in, and John was working on parallel bars, and we had like a long hang station, a support station, and a dismount drill station. And he's going, taking turn, taking turn, take a turn, take a turn, take a turn. I mean, just bouncing around doing everything. And Moss just looked at me and said, "Can you make him slow down? Because I can't keep up. I'm trying to watch him." He was doing stuff for the national team. He's like, "I'm trying to watch him, but I can't keep up with John. He goes too fast. He's working so fast. I can't keep up and watch." And that was just a testament to the success that you had, because you say you didn't know about team and you didn't believe in team and it was all about you. But what you don't realize is you inspired everybody else because of your work ethic and your energy. And I remember Mark even saying, Mark was trying to hire me to come up to Oklahoma as an assistant coach, and we were at national team camp. And I had told him no. And I said, I got some young guys coming up. I got this group coming, and I think they can really do some special things as we get going. And this is when you and Brooks were doing Kovacs on high bar at like 12 and 13 years old. And I remember, and you were there and working out, and every coach just gravitates towards you to want to work with you and at a camp. And, it didn't matter what school they were from, what club they were from, they just gravitate. And your personality, because you just wanted to take it all in to make yourself better. And that just fed for everybody. Your personality was so electric that everybody wanted to work with you. And I remember Mark came up to me and said, "Okay, I see why. I see what you're talking about now. You got something going on here that could be special." And he's the reason why. It was just you were such a lightning bolt of energy in the gym, and a lightning bolt of positiveness that everybody wanted to be around you. And so you say that you didn't learn about team. There might have been a mental aspect of it, but you were always a leader, and everybody gravitated and wanted to be near you. And that's what a leader is for a team, no matter whether you realize it or not. So some pretty cool special moments. And for me, one of my most special moments was actually, obviously I was in 2012, but one of my most special moments was actually 2008, when you made the Olympic team and your name was called. And I'll never forget it. I have a picture of it. It was in the newspaper. I'll never forget, your name was called on the floor, and I'm in the stands in Philly, and I'm way back in the corner, and you stepped up, turned, and pointed, and it was at me over at the stands. And so that was one of those moments. I was like, you know what, that was cool. That was an awesome moment. And so just your level of care, your level of desire, your level of devotion, to everything. It's just it's one of those special things that can't be replicated, never will be. And that's why you have been successful, not just as a gymnast, but as a team player, as a leader, as a captain, as a person. I mean, everybody. I mean, that's why the name John Horton is still so important in the men's gymnastics community, is because just what you did as a person that bled into your gymnastics, and it just I'll forever be grateful for you being a part of my gymnastics career.
So, I mean, you said bled into gymnastics. That reminded me of Winter Cup. You saw
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
let him do it again. Don't let him do it again. He's gonna don't let him do it again.
he had to connect his Coleman
back.
and smashed his nose, broke his nose, blood everywhere.
And
Oh,
American Cup the next
I
week.
can go back and do it. I can get back up. I'm like, no.
So it's funny you mentioned times, Tom, you said I always did everything that you guys asked me to. So there's a few times I did not do what I was asked to do. Um, One of my favorite stories, Tom, I don't know if you remember this. I was probably 13 years old on a set of rings over the pit. We had a mat in the pit, and yeah, Tom's shaking his head already. We had a mat in the pit, and I looked over at Chris Brooks. Chris and I grew up together. And I was like, hey, man, do you think I can make a triple back? And he was like, no, you can't make a triple back. And Tom was standing over there and he turned around and goes, no, you are not going to do a triple back. And I was like, dang, I just want to try a triple. And so Tom walks away. I'm like, I'm going to try a triple, guys. And I pushed the mat out from being on top of the foam blocks. And I go for a triple back and I land right on my head. And Tom walks over to, and he sees it happen. He goes, what are you doing? And I was like, oh man, I got lost, dude. And he goes, no, you tried to triple back. Why is the mat out of the pit? And I was like, I don't know, man. I tried to triple back. And Tom was like, why are you so stupid? Like he let it go. But anyways, like I did stuff like that. Like I had it in my head that there were things I could do. And that goes back to like the high bar story in 2008. Is Mark actually did the right thing as a coach. He tried to talk me out of this routine several times. He was like, John, I literally tried the routine probably, I don't know, 10 times between team finals and event finals. And I wasn't even close. I think I got through the routine one time and I got to the very end of it.
No,
And
you
did I?
fell in. You
Yeah.
didn't end.
No. But like I got to the end once and I was so tired. I did a layout full out to my face because I was so tired. And so Mark was like, why don't you just like be thankful that you're in the high bar finals at the freaking Olympics, do the routine that you know how to do, land your dismount, and walk away. And like you've already got a medal at the Olympic Games. And I was just like, Mark, like if I do the best routine I've ever done in my life,
I'll be
I'm
fifth.
probably gonna get like seventh or eighth with this normal routine. But if I could somehow, by the grace of God, do this crazy freaking routine right now, like I got a shot. And Mark, I could just tell that he was like, hey, "Why are you so dumb?"
Seen that.
And
Seen that.
After the first four guys went, two of them missed, and I still went over to you and said, "You still want to do this new routine? You could just one."
yeah, yeah.
You were a trendsetter though, because you were the first one to really be doing 3 Kovac skills on high bar. Even as a young kid, I mean, you did that sequence at a junior national team camp, just a release sequence into a triple double at a national team camp, and then when we were combined with Japan, and
I remember
Japan
that,
had
coach.
a junior team there, and we were all together, and you do you get up and do the freaking Casina, layout Kovacs, Coleman Kovacs, you did all 4 of them, and then did a quast and triple double. And the coach looks at me, and this was like 2007, I think it was 2006, 2007. Looks at me and goes, "Next Olympic champion on high bar."
Yeah, I
I
remember
said,
that.
no, it was 2004. It was
Yeah,
2004. And I said, no, he's not. He's not going to be a part of that group yet. But maybe one day. He goes, no, next Olympic champion on high bar. And it was really cool because it was like 2000. I think it might have been 2003, 2004 camp.
yeah. It was before the '04 games because I remember you telling him like, he's not going to make that next squad.
Yeah, it was a cool moment. But you said it like Mark said. I mean, you're one of the first guys ever to change your routine for finals.
Yeah.
And since then, everybody changes their routines for finals. I mean, I don't know if anybody. I mean, maybe there's a ton of guys that win medals because they change their routine for finals.
Yeah.
It's just such a trendsetter and such a, you know, daredevil, right? I mean, that's just crazy. Olympic Games, let's change the routine to a routine we've never even done. We never even tried. We never hit. We're not close. And under Mark Williams of all people.
And I still have I only hit that routine one time and one time ever. I never hit it again.
No, you didn't.
But the other thing, Mark, Mark, you probably remember this pretty well. Mark and I butted heads one time real bad over the '06 World Championship training. We drew the short end of the stick in '06 for that was my first Worlds ever, and we knew that we would start warming up at like 4 a.m. in the morning or something crazy like that.
Yeah, that was a
And
disaster.
so we were first session, and Mark was like, "Hey, we're gonna go over there, and you're gonna, we're gonna be there for like a week before competition, but you still need to know how to wake up super early in the morning and be ready to go." And I didn't want to do that. Like I fought him and fought him, and there was one day that he was like, "Hey, we're gonna wake up at like 3:30. We're gonna meet for breakfast at 4 a.m. We're gonna go." We went to like IHOP or something like that, grabbed a quick breakfast. And I remember getting up, and keep in mind, I'm in college. I'm tired. I'm doing all kinds of stuff, and I'm the only guy going to breakfast at 4 a.m. with my coach to try to get ready for, world championships. And he's like, "Yeah, you're gonna put your hand up for your first routine at like 5:45, 6 a.m." And I was like, "This is madness." Like I was like, "Mark, this is dumb. I'll be fine when we get there." And he's like, "No, you're not. Like, we need to do this." I fought him and fought him and fought him on it, and we only did that morning 1-on-6 one time, and it was an absolute disaster. And then of course we went to World Championships, and I ended up leading the team to the worst performance in the history of USA men's gymnastics. So we finished in 13th place. I fell 6 times in prelims, and I know like Kevin Tan got food poisoning, and other guys weren't, they just weren't on their game. But like in general, like had I just had a normal day, we would have at least qualified, in top 8 and had a chance of competing day 2. But I took all the blame for that. Like I was supposed to be that like one of the top dogs to do something well, but I fought my coach on it and never got prepared. And that was one of the things that Tom and Mark were good at. That they're good at a lot of things, but I think no one's better in the country at putting a plan together and preparing athletes to peak at the right time. And when I stopped fighting that, that's when I ended up peaking at the right time. And I give them a lot of credit for that. But that was one time that I regretted not listening to Mark on that, as miserable as it was. But 2 years later, it made for a good story. We came back. We went from 13th to 3rd in 2 years. It's pretty good.
It's pretty good.
Good swing.
Amazing.
Yeah.
All right. Hey guys, this is really special for us to be able to sit. Tony and I, we really appreciate being able to sit in and listen to you guys talk. Like these stories are, I mean, they're legends. This is a pretty cool thing. And so that there is one thing that you said, Jonathan. You said you weren't very successful. I'm gonna just go ahead and say that is not true at all. You're very successful as a person, as a family man, as an athlete. Your impact on the community and everything. You're a very, very successful person, someone that a lot of kids should look up to, a lot of people, and honestly, people older than you. I would say that everyone should be looking up to you as a role model. So, so thank you for telling your stories. Now, with that being said, there's a project that we're working on right now, that's really special. We're really excited about it. I'm going to share my screen here real quick. Can you guys see this okay?
Yep.
All right. So we are creating the CGA Hall of Fame. This is for NCAA men's gymnastics, and this is going to be our inaugural class here. And so Horton, you're going to be inducted into our first CGA Hall of Fame class. Super, super special. You cannot tell us that you were not successful. And in a lot of ways, you were a pioneer in our sport. You can see that in the graphic. Obviously, it's for Boomer Sooner, right? But you were a pioneer in a lot.
I know that's hard for you to say, man. I know it's tough for you to get Boomer Sooner out of your mouth.
Yeah, can I say go Big Red for a second? No, honestly, so much respect to the OU program, to Mark, to Tom, to you, Jonathan. You guys have done some great things. And so this is a really special thing. It's something that we can all celebrate together. Celebrate Jonathan and your accomplishments, but also celebrate the community and everything it does to get people to that level, right? It takes a village in a lot of ways. And so we're proud of you. We're excited to celebrate with you. But congratulations. This is big. Inaugural class here. So
Man, it's an honor. And you didn't tell me you were gonna. You're surprising me multiple times today, man. Super cool. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And I appreciate what you guys are trying to do for the sport. Keep it growing. It is a sport that I think can bring so much to so many people if we continue to push, continue to get the word out for what it does to kids. I mentioned my son, doing gymnastics. He's also a baseball player, and he's a darn good one too. And I've got all the kids on his baseball team asking, like, how is he so fast? How is he so strong? And the answer is, kid does 20 hours of gymnastics a week. And so you start spreading the word on what this sport can do for people, not only, physically, but also mentally, emotionally, and just for what it can do for you in your life. And I think that it's the greatest sport in the world. So appreciate you guys putting some time and effort into helping it out.
absolutely.
Congratulations.
Yeah, congratulations. This is big. We're really happy for you.
Yeah,
Well
thank you
deserved.
guys.
Well
Thank you
deserved.
very much.
Yep. Tom,
Awesome.
Mark, any last remarks here?
Huge congratulations. Obviously well deserved, well earned. Blood, sweat, and tears, and heart's probably the biggest thing that John always brought to the table, no matter what he was doing. His heart was always on his sleeve, and always out there for his team, no matter what. And even though he said he wasn't a team guy when he was younger, he was, whether he realized it or not. So it's awesome to see this, and it is a great, cool thing that you guys are doing. I really look forward to seeing the other people who are brought into the mix, because it's going to be the who's who of gymnastics, and it's pretty cool to be a part of. And just John being a part of it makes me be a part of it. And it's with this group here, I mean, it's just with me being an athlete of Mark's, and then me getting to pass the torch on to John. This is a pretty cool little family deal right here.
Now we just got to see if Mark will stick around long enough to coach David at
Oh,
Oklahoma.
good. No, Mark, run.
Hey, who knows? I mean, maybe Penn State, maybe Nebraska. I don't know. We're not closing the door. It's whoever wants him, if he can even get there. We'll see. But he might kill Tom first. We'll see what happens.
Way to
Yeah,
open
he's-
it up there.
He's gonna have sooner if he gets to that point. He's coming here.
Awesome. Well, guys, thank you for joining the call today. Jonathan, congratulations again. Tom, Mark, congratulations as well with your part in this journey. And thanks again, guys.
Awesome.
Yeah,
so
thank you
much.
guys. I
Thanks
appreciate
so
it.
much, guys.
All right.
Have
Thanks, guys.
You
Boomer
guys.
Sooner.